Welcome back, and before going on to the break, we were celebrating the legacy of the PTV, may it be the engaging, timeless dramas, the plots, the engaging storytelling lines, and the millennials like me, we also find solace in revisiting the timeless classics that I would like to say, and not just in the drama. PTV was an institution in itself when it comes to newscasting, when it comes to giving the good quality content, and PTV has always upgraded the quality of the content and taught others how to have a good content out there. So it was not just an icon of the national integration, but it was much more than that. It was such an essential part of our social fabrics. To talk on that, to shed light on that, we are very glad that we have been joined by a legendary newscaster who has taught me a lot. His humble personality, yes, his humility, his humbleness, and the excellence of the professionalism that he embodies in his personality is very captivating, and he has offered us so much to learn from his humbleness. We are very glad that we have been joined by Mazhar Nisar Saab. Assalamu alaikum, Mazhar Saab. Thank you so much for coming to our show.
Assalamu alaikum, Shahzad.
Wa alaikum assalam, Mazhar bhai. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here.
Such a great pleasure.
It can't get better than this. Now imagine that 2013 I was here learning from you how to be a news anchor, and today I'm hosting you over here.
Here you are as a superstar.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. But Mazhar bhai, you know, to be very honest, it's been more than 3 decades that you've been associated with Pakistan television, and you've always been phenomenal. Let's, you know, kind of go through your journey of Pakistan television and how you encapsulate the entire idea of Pakistan television as an institution.
I think as our legendary actress Laila Zubairi had just mentioned, and I was listening to her right now, that PTV is like a mother, and you never leave your mother.
Absolutely.
So I have always been a part of PTV. Wherever I went, my identity was PTV. And PTV is the flag bearer of Pakistan's narrative. It is a flag bearer of Pakistan's cultural ethos. And PTV as a state broadcaster has contributed immensely to getting the right information to the people. And the best part is that over all these years, today PTV is mashallah 60 years old. And in these 60 years, PTV has never for one moment faltered or never altered its course. It continued to be steadfast in providing information, education and entertainment to the people, and no matter what the external pressures were, there was a lot of evolution. Post 2000 the private media came in, and of course PTV did sync itself with the times, but continued to maintain its quality, and I think that is somewhere where we need to really give PTV a lot of credit.
And Mazhar Saab, speaking about the privatization of the media, so we've seen after the privatization there was a mushrooming growth of channels, not just in the news, in the dramas, I mean in the music and different distinct style of the channels that propped up. And we've seen with that mushrooming growth, the audience attention was divided, right? So you are a veteran of the PTV. How can we bring back those voices, that divided attention of the audiences? And I'm very, very glad that at PTV we have never fallen prey to this pernicious tentacles of the sensationalism, which is so much integral part of the journalism, and I really don't like it. So Mazhar Saab.
No, I think PTV is known for not glamorizing or sensationalizing news, as we say. PTV shares news rather than sell news.
That's true.
I think that's the best part. And I think eventually people of course will come back to PTV, and I have seen that there is a lot of clutter when it comes to the social media, the private media to which people subscribe a lot and consume it. But serious audiences, they watch PTV, they watch your show, they watch the evening programs that we have on PTV World. So I think PTV has a niche audience, and I think we should be really proud of that. Right. That those who are loyal to PTV remain loyal.
And this is something that I would always share with people whenever I go out somewhere. Everybody would come and be like, how's PTV and everything. I was like, yeah, I don't know if you can continue to get the grasp of it or not, but which is why I think while the MD Sahiba was here as well, you know, she spoke about that we really need to kind of engage our legendary figures as into what we really need to do, you know, in setting the future trends as well. I'm going to move on to Miss Laila Zawais. You might have plethora of ideas with you. Why don't you share a few that, okay, you know, I think that we can do this, that, and it will certainly work to engage a better and a bigger audience.
Yeah. We should get good content for the drama. I'll speak about the dramas. So, that good content is lacking these days in all the channels, I would say. So,
thank you.
So, PTV should take a lead and they should bring the content, that type of content which we used to have at PTV when we were working for PTV.
And so, ma'am, you know, while we are at it, sorry that I'm interjected, while we are at it, what sort of messages did you deduce, you know, while if you are doing a character, obviously you will go back with a different mindset because the lines were written so beautifully. There was an entire ethos which was being looked after, you know, the message, the social service messages which were being transmitted through your characters was something which would always have impact on your personality too. So, would you mind sharing one of those days when you actually felt that, okay, yeah, this is something that I need to change in life?
At that time, because we used to do one drama at a time, so we started, we used to start living in that character. The mood is the same all the time, what we are carrying in the drama. So I remember we used to have rehearsals for 5 days for a drama. And it was so wonderful that we got to know everybody in the team. Nowadays, we don't get the script, and there's no time for rehearsals, and we don't know what in other tracks who the actors are there and who are the characters. So we don't get involved in the character. Exactly.
Right. And Laila Sahiba, because before we wrap up your segment, so what are some of the things that you learned from PTV which you want to transmit to your future generation or the other generation or the modern crop of the actors that have cropped up? You know, what is that one thing that PTV taught you and you find it missing nowadays?
Yes, I would say that I learned so much from PTV because, you know, the dramas were from the stories happening around us.
Right.
The same stories we used to pick and we used to portray those stories.
Yeah.
Right.
So people can relate to those stories.
Right.
But nowadays the glamour has taken over everything.
Right.
So we should go back to that era, I think.
Right.
And I'm sure people would love that.
Exactly, but thank you so much, madam,
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
with us. Thank you so much for taking our time on such an auspicious day where we were celebrating.
And I want to
60th
congratulate once again to PTV for their 60th anniversary.
And it's all because of you people that we are here. You know, it's in your footpath that we are still making sure that we are going to create that mark for our audiences and future generations to come as well. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading out towards a short break. Once you will come back, you know, there's this amazing gentleman that I'll be introducing to you because every time I was reading news right beside him, he would actually write down 10 to 50 words and afterwards be like, you know, your pronunciation was wrong, you know, over here you should have said it like this, and it always helped me. I never took it as criticism. I always took it as if there's an elder brother who's actually teaching me, and it helped me many folds. Who is that person, ladies and gentlemen? We'll be right back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much, madam, for being with us.
Thanks for
Good morning.
inviting me once again.
Thank you so much. Welcome back, and before going on to the break, Shahzad alluded to the personality that we want to welcome in our studio and our guest, and obviously like Shahzad said, I think it's the pronunciation guru. I think I pronounced it right because I'm also very tense when I am reading news with him because he would be very particular about the pronunciation, and that helped us grow as a professional.
True.
And I would like to acknowledge his contribution in making me a better news anchor, better newscaster. And it's not just me. I think a lot of other people have this experiences, have this story to tell. about him. So I'm very glad, and Shahzad is also very glad, that we have been joined by Fahim Bangesh. Assalamu alaikum, Fahim, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum salam. Pleasure being here.
Tasu sange khairam barabar. Yoda takne. Alhamdulillah. And a lot of people might not even know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but I'll have to say this. His sister actually told me that his full name is Fahimullah Bangesh, you know. So everybody who's been, you know, kind of coining this term, Fahim Bangesh, sounds very cool as well. But I think Fahimullah Bangesh, thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. And I still remember that my first ever bulletin was with you, besides you, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. It's been a longer journey, you know, from, obviously you've been with PTV for a longer period of time. Then you came to PTV World, then you've been here, alhamdulillah, now 12, 13 years. Your journey so far, Bhaijan?
I have had a beautiful journey here with PTV, because when I came here, I was a naive little boy, and I had my first bulletin with Shabnam. Shabnam is also a legendary anchor that we had alongside Mazhar Nisar, of course. And I was actually trembling while reading my news with her. I was shaking, my new chair was going haywire here and there. And Shabnam was like, you know, tummy muscles in, just relax and just go on. And then I was scolded outside. Yeah. What were you doing with your chair? I said I couldn't control it.
Yeah, it helps to regulate your the nervousness, right? I do get that, right? I think
now when I see so many confident young people coming on air just like that, as if it's nothing, it's wonderful seeing them like this. Yeah. Right. But yeah, my experience was very nervous. I can never forget that day. And when they phoned me, when they told me that you have to go on air, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think they have exposure to screens a lot than probably you coming in, because the social media is such an integral part of our social fabric, right? So they might have, you know, with the exposure to the TikToks and Instagram, they might have, I don't know, you know, this is their story to tell.
Yeah, the camera shyness is no more there,
it's really gradually going away, because it's also a way to earn a lot of money, right? Because a lot of people are content creators, that's their job title. So Mazhar Saab, now coming to you, you are an institution yourself, you have taught so many people out there. I'm pretty sure you might have a lot of memories, but what is one thing about PTV that you would like to take away and teach your other generation, people like our age, you know, who do you find that, you know, they may be lacking in this era and then you want to instill in them?
Well, I think the greatest thing about PTV is that being yourself. Yeah. You know,
oh yes,
and not aping others. And
not faking your accent, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, absolutely. Because you see, I recall that, you know, in our days when newscasters, as they would call them then, were selected, fake accent was, you know, something that was always, you know, picked up and was, and of course, you couldn't really go on air with a fake accent. True. So being original was the first lesson that we learned here, being yourself. And staying the course. And I think, I mean, I have tried to stay the course. It's been over 3 decades, you know.
No, actually, he's so right, because this is one thing that in the beginning, you know, just to sound better, British. Perhaps, not British, better, right? Yeah. I said Kashmir, right? And my bulletin was with Ma'am Shaista, right? And then she told me, they cannot say Kashmir, we can say Kashmir. That's right. And ever since then, I have pronounced my local names the way they are. And that's what I tell the
Thank you so much, sir, because that's the only pronunciation where we can understand.
Yes, and also, you know, familiar words, Urdu words like Hurriyat, you know.
Hurriyat,
so, yes. I mean, so I see a lot of English broadcasters not being able to pronounce it the way it should be.
True.
So being original, staying the course, and of course, I mean, I've also learned a lot from legends like Shaista. And Khalida Mazhar used to be a legendary controller news here at PTV, and I was identified and eventually selected by her. And of course, I'd also like to mention late Riaz Ahmed Khan. Riaz Ahmed Khan was a radio broadcaster, a legendary radio broadcaster.
Lovely man, yes.
So I did enter English broadcasting through Radio Pakistan. And Riaz Ahmed Khan was on the panel. And it was very difficult in those days to, you know, get into this world. You know, you had to make a lot of effort. You have to rehearse, practice. So I remember having rehearsed for 2 years before I could get an opportunity to get into radio.
Wow.
And it took me about 4.5 to 5 years before I could get into PTV News, because there used to be just one English bulletin at 6 p.m. and that was huge.
Yeah.
So I recall that an opportunity, because there were 7 days and there's 7 bulletins in 7 days. So I recall that, you know, I had to wait for a very long time, I think 2.5 years to get my first opportunity. And that too, you know, when one of the anchors got married and she left news. So, and I was just thinking, had she not gotten married, you know.
Must have been only 2 decades then, not 3.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Shazra Azhar used to be a newscaster in those days. And she had left, and then, so one day was vacated, Sunday. So I started off with doing the Sunday 6 p.m. bulletin.
Yeah.
And then eventually, Ma'am Shaista, she fell sick, and she was sick for a very long time. And then I had to get into her shoes very early.
Okay.
So that really kind of honed my skills as a newscaster.
And not just that, Mazhar Sahib, you know, you being very modest today, alhamdulillah, you know, you write poetry, you know, we share your poetry with the rest of the friends as well. But while we're at it, there's one thing. I'm very sorry that I'm going to ask you this on air, but this is something that I felt when I was news anchoring. Now, imagine that being besides Fahim, you know, what we would do is that, okay, you know, if Fahim's on screen, you know, I would do my stuff. You know, if I'm on screen, you know, Fahim would do his stuff, you know, arranging the news or probably looking at your phone and whatnot. Did it ever get boring for you that, you know, 45 minutes long bulletin, you're out there, you need to be full of energy. And, you know, there was this one thing which I would always speak about, you know, with everybody that, yeah, why don't you, you know, bring some sensationalism while you're reading it, reciting it, or doing whatever. Did you ever felt, okay, aaj neend aa gayi hai bhai, aaj nahi ho raha?
Yeah, I mean, well, the interesting thing about this profession is, you know, when you are live, so, I mean, every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Every moment is a new moment.
That's true.
And you can't rest on your past success. So, I mean, one slip up now can ruin the entire career, you know.
True.
So, I mean, you have to be on your toes, you have to be super alert. 200% of your alertness should be there. I mean, otherwise you can't perform. And you see also, I have seen the evolution. You see, I recall that, you know, back in the days, there used to be a 15 minutes to 20 minutes news bulletin. So this evolution to a 1 hour news bulletin, you know, I recall, you know, when we were in radio, and, you know, in radio there were 10-minute bulletins. So, you know, when I graduated from the 10-minute to the 30-minute bulletin, so we had to do a lot of breathing exercises. Because, you know, people thought it would be very difficult if you were doing a 30-minute bulletin and if you really run out of breath. So, but then, I mean, we did evolve from a 15-minute bulletin to a 1 hour bulletin.
And it has always helped us, you know, to be better.
Right. It used to be such a big deal, although it's only been 16 years. Once what happened, I had to do someone was not there, I had to do the main bulletin.
1 hour.
And till
all
then,
by yourself.
I had not done the main bulletin because I was also on sports news and business news for about 1 or 2 years, right? So they asked me, can you do this? I said, okay, fine, let me try. I was also nervous. And then they clapped for me that you read an unseen bulletin that you hadn't proofread before going on air. And they clapped for me, and you did a brilliant job.
And that's a huge validation, and I think especially when you are new, that really adds to your pocket a lot. So for him, one last thing very quickly, because my producer is constantly telling me to wrap it up. What is one thing that you would like to see on our broadcast spaces that would make our screen more vibrant?
The thing is, A, it's the content should improve, and B, the way people speak, that should also improve, because that attracts the population who's watching you, right? Especially if a person like me is watching, and if a person who's speaking on the screen is not speaking in the right manner, I do not say with an accent, just in the right manner. That would attract me like anything towards that person.
And the context of it as well.
That is why we call him the pronunciation guru, because he's very particular about it. And obviously at PTV, we always strive to upgrade the quality of the conversation and also the content. We always keep striving for that, but obviously we are also humans, and we always need improvement to keep getting better and better. Thank you so much, Mazhar Saab.
Thank you
so much, Fahim, for coming here, for
Wonderful
gracing
to
our
have you
screen, for contributing your timeless experiences with us and for teaching us, how to grow as a professional in this very vibrant institution that we call PTV. And we are very, very proud to be part of this institution. And there's a huge and heavy responsibility over us because people have so many nostalgia, so many good things to relate with the PTV, and it makes us and it strives us to become more better and better.
And the best part over here is that every now and then when my daughter sees me on television, you know what she says? She says that I would want to be on Pakistan television, but no other channel. Ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves. We're celebrating our 60th anniversary. And thanks to all of you as well, for all our viewers who are out there, for making us who we are today. Until next time, look after yourselves. The celebrations will continue throughout the day. Please make sure that you stay tuned to PTV World. Until next time, look after yourselves.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.